This is a Lawful Stupid RPG production.
Hail and well met, and welcome to Echoes of Krynn, Dragons of the Hidden Flood, an actual play podcast of 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons set in the world of Dragonlance and presented by Lawful Stupid RPG. I'm Medium, and on behalf of our cast and crew, thank you so much for the wonderful support you've shown us. We're constantly amazed at the passionate feedback we received, and it is greatly appreciated. Many of our listeners have asked about longer episodes, and while at the moment we don't have the capability of editing entire games for regular broadcast, for the next few uploads we've created compilations of past episodes, organizing them by recording sessions. If you've been with us from the beginning, you're not likely to hear very much that you haven't already, but we hope you'll enjoy our adventure just as much the second time around. If you're a new subscriber, welcome! And for everyone, we hope you have as much fun listening to our games as we had playing them. Don't worry, we're in the process of editing new episodes, and they're coming soon. If you think we do a good job and would like to buy the cast and crew a cup of coffee to show your thanks, we're more than happy to take you up on it. Head over to ko-fi.com, that's www.ko-fi.com/lawfulstupidrpg to show your support. Now, I invite you all to step with me into fantasy, and for our time together, let imagination rule. Last time, the adventurers engaged in battle with a group of deadly assassins intent on causing harm to the Imperial family. As the Theatral Spire auditorium continues to burn around them, they do their utmost to eliminate their foe and escape before they succumb to the heat and smoke. Back to the top of the order with Teely.
So just for my head, what's going on around me right now?
You are on the stage. There is a trapdoor right behind you. To either side of you, there are softly glowing blue lights for the backstage. It looks like a lamp that has some sort of blue glass on the outside of it that is creating a soft glow. Glancing around very quickly, there are curtains in the back corners of the back of this stage area, which look like they might lead to a different area. In fact, as you watch, you see a guard and another one of these shadowy figures come bursting through the curtain to the back right of this theater, or what would actually be upstage left if you are in fact in the theater business. Looking out into the audience, you see flames licking up and smoke collecting at the top of the auditorium. Most of the audience seems to have fled. The only ones who remain in the actual audience are more of these shadowy figures who seem unperturbed by the fire. They are using it to light arrows and firing up into various other spots of the theater, some of them firing them at those of you on stage as well. You have a dead or dying assailant right next to you after having taken care of them, and it is now your turn. What do you do?
I keep my focus towards the center of the seating area down the pathway where I can see the two assassins are, and I'm going to take my hoopak, reload it with another kind of rock stone, and begin to swing it around, making that ghostly, eerie sound again, and I'm going to try and hit one of them. Ooh, that's pretty good. That's a 23 to hit.
All right, that is in fact a hit. So you whirl your hoopak, and out goes a rock. It streaks across the stage, landing thwack right in the center of one of these fellows' foreheads. What is your damage?
That is 5 bludgeoning damage.
He grunts, and you see him glare up at you as a trickle of blood runs down over his mask.
And I will turn to Anwir, who just complimented my performance. And just a quick question, is it visible that he only has one arm?
I do my best to hide it under the cape. It's not something that I show readily or often.
Okay.
That said, I would say that in the midst of combat, what is your passive perception, Teely?
14.
14. Onweir, unless you have specifically made a tremendous effort to hide this fact during all this, I'm going to say that with a 14 passive, Teely probably has noticed. If she's had time to notice.
I wouldn't hide it. I would, with the intensity of the combat, that's not something I would be straining to protect.
All right, so out of the corner of your eye, Teely, as the chaos of all this is unfolding, you do make a mental note. That fellow only has one arm.
All right, and I will look towards him and say,
You know, I got served by a one-armed waiter the other day. You have to hand it to him.
and I will give you Bardic Inspiration.
I don't even know what to do with that.
Well, you could do a D6 with that
no,
at some point later on.
Good. Thank you for explaining.
Anything else, Teely?
No, that is the end of my turn. Thank you.
That brings us to Manto.
I am not happy with how I have been swinging this absolute rubbish prop sword of mine, and I greatly miss my sword that I use in the fighting pits. But I am very determined to kill this assassin who is in front of me, who I've been trying to kill for the past few rounds here. And bolstered by the appearance of Blip beside me, I am going to take a swing at him with this rubbish sword. And that's a crit!
Nice. Well,
okay.
Manto, I was about to say that you couldn't help but notice that when the assassin fell behind you dead, there was a clattering sound and a short sword has fallen out of his hand. So if you would like to put a different weapon in your hand, then feel free. But
Lovely.
I don't know, a natural 20 on that club hit. Maybe you want to keep that club.
Yes. So I am going to roll damage here, and I'm max damaged. Wow, this is a great start to the game. This is the best it's going to get all game, guys. It's going to be all ones after this.
Give me your dice.
So that is 19 points of damage.
Good Lord.
For our listeners who may have missed previously, Manto has missed like the past 3 attacks.
Well, you make up for it now. As you swing this club around, it catches the assailant clearly on the side of his head and knocks him down, flying 10 feet before he slides to a stop at the foot of the steps leading up to the stage, unmoving. There's no way he could have survived that incredible blow.
Was this assassin also carrying a short sword, or did he have anything nicer?
He also is wielding a short sword. He also has a quiver that has 10 arrows in it and a short bow on his back.
Wonderful, because all of my stuff was taken from me when I came here. I will pick up the short sword and the quiver to be prepared for what might come next. I know there's fire here, but am I able to take any sort of cover behind the seats?
Short answer, yes. You can take cover beside the seats. However, as you move closer, the fire is getting hot.
Okay.
If you are to stay there, it's likely you're going to be taking damage from that. But it would provide you with cover.
Yes, I know. I would not like to do that. However, I will just move back here, and I'm going to crouch down, so at least these assassins that are in the middle do not have a direct line of sight on me.
All right, in order to do that, that means you're going prone, which means then if you want to get up from being prone on your next turn, it's going to be half your movement.
Wait, so crouching is prone?
Yes. In order for you to have benefit of cover so that they can't hit you, you have to go prone.
I see. So we have 2 in the center, the one that is on the far side of the seating area. Are those the only 3 left?
There appears to be one in the far backstage corner. And you're right, looking across the auditorium, you see 3 in the auditorium. One is similar to where you are right at the beginning of the seats. And then there are 2 that are standing where the musicians were playing their instruments during the opera.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to go prone, but I am going to stand. I believe I am still within... Yes. I am with attack distance of them. Okay. And that is where I am going to end my turn, and I will give a rousing shout of joy at seeing Blip here. My friend, I am so glad you have returned. We need you.
I jump up and down in excitement. I help.
That brings us to the assassin's turn. One drops his short bow and comes running towards you, Blip, pulling out a short sword to slash at you. He has rolled a 14.
That does not hit. Haha.
Does not hit. You jump out of the way. The other one takes a bead on Teely with his short bow.
No.
Hitting AC 11.
That does not hit.
All right, you dodge out of the way of that. The one who is on the other side of the theater runs forward and vaults up onto the stage. Then he draws his bow and arrow and fires at Jarvan. He has hit with a 22, but as he fires, Tulian stands in the way of Jarvan and takes the arrow instead. Grabs Jarvan and pulls him behind him by the red cloak he is wearing, dressed up as he is as a red wizard. And the arrow sticks into his body. Barely sticks into his body, I should say, doing only 2 points of damage. And then the last assassin misses the guard in the back right-hand corner. I forgot about the people outside. Right, so Farron, you are dealing with two that one of them is extremely wounded, having been hit by both you and Lhasa, I believe. Lhasa shot him with a spell. He strikes at you with his scimitar, hitting AC 16.
Hit.
7 points of slashing. Oh dear.
That's not good.
Hold.
Oh,
As that slash begins to come over, I grip the sides of my head and I cry out, Farron! Farron, step to the side, please! I've seen it before, I'm sure of it. And he'll take a 5 on that roll.
very cool. Lhasa, using his abilities as a divination mage, sees an alternate possibility, Farron, and the very last second you step aside as the blow fails to land.
Oh, it misses. Nice.
He does, misses completely. The other one comes forward to attack you as well. This one hits AC 11.
Hits.
AC 11 hits. Oh dear.
Yep.
You're doing 2 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
That is their turn. Now, Tulian Haxos takes his charge and moves to the back of the theater and stands in front of Jarvan with his sword out, looking around, wild-eyed. He is going to hold an action. That is going to bring us to Blip.
All right. After being charged with that dagger, I will grab my table leg and brandish it as fearlessly as I can and charge forward and try to hit the assassin right in the knees.
Okay.
This is a 22 hit.
I should say it does.
Awesome. Side note, for the damage for the table leg, do you want me to roll damage with the maul? Or I have my unarmed?
So it's not really a maul. This is a club. So a club is 1d4.
Okay, I got the club. And I'll roll for damage. That is 6 damage. And he gets a splinter from it.
All right. Oh, more than a splitter. The enemy who is right there in front of you, Blip, he takes 6 points of damage. And as it turns out, that is how many hit points he has left, as he was already struck by Teely's Hoopak sling. He crumples at your feet, dead.
I jump up and down excited. Manto! Manto! Look! He died!
Very well done, my friend. Very well done.
I will immediately loot him.
All right, so you get down and begin to go through his corpse.
Because gully dwarves.
It's beginning to get a little hot right there, but
I thought I was the Kender here. What?
greed knows no race. Lhasa.
Knowing the importance of my master's words, I simply call out to Farron, please, stay close, my friend. We have to get to him. And run my way around the staircase, which is in flames, and get a better look at the situation ahead of me.
Coming around the corner from the lobby, entering into the auditorium, you see this remains of the spell your master Aranathus cast. There is a thick coat of frost on the ground right at the entrance. Your breath begins to steam in the air, incongruous with the flames that you see all around you, the air extremely unnaturally cold from the magic. You can see a couple of frozen solid bodies of individuals that look like assassins that were caught in the spell. But it has cleared the path of flames for you, and you are now able to see inside, see the various enemies that are dwindling, but you also see on stage the familiar figure of Anwir.
Seeing these figures gathered around the stage, the assassin who has taken position on the edge of the stage, how is he looking?
Quick glance, he doesn't appear to be wounded.
Well, this is something for which I cannot stand. And so I will place my hands together like kindling a small fire, and once again, "Oh, spark, awaken ember and become flame." And I blow out another roiling ball of fire towards this assassin.
All right, roll your attack.
Let's see. Oh, that is 19 on die, so that will give us a 24.
Very nice.
And that'll be 10 damage.
10 damage. Goodness. So a blast of fire shoots out from the audience. It creates a bit of a whistling sound as it lances into the assailant climbing up onto the stage. As it does, he stumbles and then stands, but barely. Anything else from you, Lhasa?
That will be all.
Anwir.
Seeing the bolt of fire come from the back of the theater, I look to the origin, and again, I am shocked to see my companion wield such force. But I only take a moment to register his skills and his abilities, and I shake my head briefly, and I look back at Tulian and I say, "The trapdoor, take him under. I will follow shortly." And I will step forward and attack the assassin that was just hit by the firebolt with my short sword that I have stolen.
You come running up to the assassin, still reeling, still smelling of brimstone, as he pats out the flames on his clothes. But as he sees you coming, he deftly rolls to the side, and your sword smashes into the stage, having missed him with an 11.
I will stay engaged with him. I will keep my movement, or I will stop my movement so I stay next to him and put myself between him and Tulian and the Emperor's son.
Very well. Farron.
Right. I look to the two assassins that tried to strike me, and I waver the longsword at them very clumsily. "You're lucky. I'd run if I were you." And I will disengage.
Okay.
I run after Lhasa.
All right. You juke one way and then back the other, and they're caught off step as you run towards your new half-elven friend. Just want to double check your speed there, Farron.
50?
You have 50 speed.
No, 25, but I disengaged and moved.
Well, disengaged means you get to move without incurring an attack of opportunity.
Of course, yeah. I would take the attack of opportunities.
You take the attack of opportunity. All right. One of them does make an attack of opportunity on you. The other one heads quickly elsewhere. Let's see here. Ooh, with a 22.
Hits.
3 points of slashing damage.
I laugh.
All right, Farron. Indeed, you have dashed now around the corner, and you are level with Lhasa. You can see now into the auditorium the quickly dwindling, but nonetheless still present, cold area created by some miracle of magic that has kept the flames at bay and kept this area clear, bringing us back to the top of the order with Teely.
When I originally looked down the center, there were 2 assassins stood there. Now one has fallen. I'm going to repeat my previous action, but on the one who was still standing. Once again, with my hoopak reloading, I will then have that ghostly sound as I fling it over. That is a dirty 20 to hit.
That is a hit.
And it is 6 damage.
6 damage. There's another whack as the man grunts. Kender. Anything else, Steely?
Hearing him say that,
Kender what? I can't. What?
and that is my turn.
Manto.
I am very proud of my best friend Blip, and seeing that there appears to be one assassin still in the middle who poses a threat to us both, I am going to shoot at him with the short bow that I picked up. And that is going to be a 16 to hit.
16 is a hit.
That is 7 points of damage, piercing damage.
7 points of damage is enough as you drop your short sword, quickly drawing an arrow and bringing out the bow and launch an arrow right into the throat of this assassin as he falls dead.
Wonderful. I am then going to look around, and is the assassin that is downstage left, is that the only one that I see left?
There is still one up in the upstage left corner of the stage.
Then I am going to stay put. That is my turn.
All right. The heat from the burning seats and the rest of the theater is becoming very strong, as is the smoke. You are getting to the point where Constitution saving throws will need to be made to avoid having poison or complications from inhalation of smoke, but not quite yet.
If I was aware of that, I probably have, 5 feet of movement remaining?
5, 10, 15, 20. You have 10 feet remaining.
10 feet of moving. Would getting up on the stage get me away from some of that danger?
It would, yes.
Okay.
As yet, there is no smoke or fire on the stage itself. That is all concentrated in the auditorium.
Great. Then I will use that 10 feet of movement to hop up on the stage.
You vault up on the stage. It is difficult terrain, so you're able to get to the very edge.
To the edge. Right. Thank you.
Brings us to Tullian Haxos, who looks at you, Anwir, and nods, opens up the trapdoor with a and quickly ushers the boy down the ladder into the undercroft. As he goes down, he leaves the trapdoor open and shouts, "Follow! We'll all be burned alive!" And they leave. Blip, it is your turn. Roll an investigation check for me, Blip.
Amazing. Investigation. That beautiful -1 there. That's a 14.
14. Well, you go through his pockets very quickly. You find something that jangles. Not something that you have ever really had much use for, but you know Manto sometimes likes it. Little round pieces of metal. You also find a piece of paper that is folded. Might work pretty well to, blow your nose on at some point if you ever feel like you need it. Other than that, his short sword, some arrows, and a short bow.
I'm definitely going to take the little round pieces that I think Manto will enjoy. I always have to give him presents, and I will keep the nose tissue.
All right, excellent. Any movement from you, Blip?
As it's starting to get hotter and I can feel my leg hairs singe, I'm going to go, ow. And I will move away from where it's hot. I will go in the direction of Manto.
Very good. I think I might have skipped the assassin's turn. Did that happen?
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
Pretty sure
He
it did that.
A little bit. You might have a little bit.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. It's okay.
They are
Sorry, don't worry about that.
particularly vulnerable to fire, so they miss an entire turn, right? That's how that works.
I think I'm going to have the assassins take their turn now, if you don't mind.
Wow, cheating much?
I, for one, do mind.
I totally agree.
Hey,
I vote we don't.
We're not voting on this, people. So the very wounded bandit steadies himself and tries to slash at you, Anwir, with his scimitar. Hitting AC 18.
That is a hit.
As he swings his sword, you suddenly see superimposed over the scene 2 deep green eyes that remind you very much of Aranathus. And time suddenly slows. You see the blow coming, you feel it landing, and you feel the cut in your flesh. However, while you are feeling this, you still somehow know that all you need to do is duck your head back, and you will not feel his blow.
I will duck my head back accordingly.
And as a result, this hit was in fact a miss. In the back, there is an assassin that attacks the guard, who he is successfully strikes. He slays a guard with 1 blow, and then advances towards the trapdoor that he saw his quarry go into. That is the end of their turn. Blip, you had your turn. It is now Lassa's turn.
I begin to run as fast as I possibly can through the path cleared by my master's magics, making my way towards Anwir, where I say, "Quickly, we must follow after him. We cannot leave him on his own." But that will be about all I can muster.
All right, yes, a dash move. That is it. No bonus action, bringing us to Anwir.
Here's a logistical question. If I disengage, would that also constitute a disengage from the assassin that is down by the trapdoor, or are those 2 separate actions?
Your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks for the rest of the turn.
I love that for me. I'm going to disengage with the assassin that I am engaged with at the edge of the stage, and I am going to run away from him and go directly into the trapdoor, hopping past the assassin that has just reached it, and I will descend into the depths below.
30 gets you right to the top. Unless you want to leap down, you will still have to use your movement next turn to go down, but you can leap down right now and instantly be at the bottom if that's what you want.
Can I see how far down it is quickly?
Looks to be about 10 feet.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna leap.
All right, so you leap down. Go ahead and roll an acrobatics check for me just to see if you stay on your feet.
Alrighty. That's a 14.
You do succeed. You reach out and grab the side of the ladder and slide down into a room. At the bottom, it is somewhat dim, but you can see there is a door directly across from the ladder, and there is also a door to your left.
Which direction have my friends gone?
They are still there. Jarvan, the boy, is huddled in the corner, and Tulian is panting by the door directly across from you, listening to it, eyes wide, with a fearful expression.
Would you please, one more time, describe the 2 doors? You said there are 2 door options?
There are, yes. There is a door directly across from where you are, and there is a door to your left. The door that Tulian is at is the one directly across from you.
I will say loudly, so that the assassins above can hear, I will instruct them to go to the door that they are not near vocally, but with my hand, I will gesture for them to exit the door that they are near in an effort to confuse the assassins and misdirect them.
We will deal with that later.
Understood.
But first, we will have Farron have your turn.
Okay, I follow in Lars's footsteps, and I see the frosted path before me. Oh, what is this devilry? And I will follow.
Alrighty. No bonus action from Farron, bringing us to Teely, top of the order.
So hear me out. Would I be able to sacrifice half of my movement to kneel down and pick something up? Like as I'm moving?
Interacting with one object is generally considered a free action, so unless it's something particularly unwieldy, I've got no problem with you running over and grabbing something and then continuing on. If the assassin that is fallen behind me
If they have a visible dagger, I would like to pick it up.
They don't appear to have a dagger. They have short swords
Dang
and bows and arrows.
Is a short sword single-handed,
It is.
even for a Kender?
Even for a Kender.
Right, okay.
It's much larger for you, but it is possible.
Okay, I am going to turn around, seeing Anwir jump down this hole and an assassin approaching. I'm going to turn, pick up this short sword, and run full charge at the assassin by the trapdoor. And then I'm going to go berserk, hitting him with both the short sword I've picked up and a dagger that I've pulled from my waist pocket. And I'm just going to be stab it.
In order to keep this rules kosher, that would mean that you would have to drop the hoopak.
My baby.
Tough decisions.
My baby. Okay. Alright. I will drop it on the dead assassin,
Okay.
so it's close by. And then... Forgive me, sorry. I don't have the stats for a short sword. Would you be able to tell me?
1d6 piercing damage is what it does. And it is a light weapon, so that means that despite it being much larger in your hand than it would be for somebody else, it is still wieldable by a Kender.
Great. Alright. So the dagger is a 13 to hit.
That does not hit. It buries itself in the trapdoor that you...
And the short sword is a 12 to hit.
Both of those miss.
I like to think I run over, and as I go to swing both the dagger and the short sword, I misjudged how heavy I would find the short sword, being very, very weak, and kind of stumble a little bit and just completely miss him as I'm swaying these things around.
Probably also coming to the realization that maybe you're better off just sticking with the hoopak.
Yeah, I'm realizing that.
Nice job. Or, well, actually, no. Not a nice job. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Shady.
Sorry. That was mean.
Regarding the hoopak, do you think that it should be classed as finesse in the Kender's hand?
It's not finesse in my sheet.
Well, I suppose it is mostly a ranged weapon. So the reason why it doesn't have finesse is because when you use it like a staff, it's being used like a quarterstaff, which I don't think is a finesse weapon. All right, Teely, that is you done. Manto.
Is the assassin up by the trap door still trying to get down now that Anwir has jumped down into that trap door?
You see him looking down, but as Teely comes running at him like a maniac with these two blades, he definitely seems like he's more interested in defending himself from that at the moment.
Then I am going to take this opportunity to move forward a bit. So I'm now about center stage, and I am going to, with my crossbow, shoot at this assassin that is still downstage left.
The one that Anwir escaped from and that is still smoldering from the firebolt from Lhasa.
Indeed.
Did you say crossbow?
I'm sorry, not crossbow, short bow.
Yes.
That is going to be 22 to hit,
That's a hit.
and that is 4 points of damage.
With an arrow through his head, he cannot live. Down he falls.
Wonderful.
Nice shot.
Thank you. I look around. Do I see any other assassins save for the one that Teely appears to be handling quite effectively?
That is the only one you see.
Wonderful. Then I am going to use what remaining movement I have to move away from the fire and then shout down, "Blip! The fire is getting bigger and hotter. Move when you can."
I look up at him. I move. See?
Good.
And I hop up and down on both feet.
And I chuckle a little bit, and that is my turn.
All right, the assassin goes. The assassin tries to pay you back in kind, Teely. He slashes at you with a scimitar, hitting AC 16.
First rude, and 2 it hits.
All right. Ooh, a bad one. You take 5 points of slashing damage.
Oh no. Okay. I just let out, which sounds like a puppy whimper. Just
That's how it's done, little piglet.
Excuse me?
just for my next turn, from my knowledge. Is there anything potentially insultable about this man?
It's difficult because so much of his features are covered up.
That's enough. I got it for next turn. I'm ready. Don't you worry.
All right, awesome. I hope he lives. Down below, Tullian looks over to you, Anwir, and puts his fingers to his mouth with one finger up, telling you to be quiet. Apparently, he hears something on the other side of the door. That's going to bring us to Blip.
I am going to run towards the stage and scramble up over the edge, my little fingernails digging into the wood.
You smell something as you do, and it smells like burning rat hair. You look down and see that one of little wisps of hair that's come undone from the rag that you used to keep it out of your face is smoldering a bit.
As I am walking towards Manto, I am gonna look down in confusion and say, "Wow, that not me. I no do that." And I'm gonna pat at it. Why it bought me, Manto?
Blip, you know fire. That is fire.
Blip on fire?
What have we talked about? Stop, drop, roll.
I give a huge squeal and throw myself to the floor as hard as I can, arms stretched out above my head, and immediately begin rolling back and forth as hard and as fast as I can. Ah! Ah!
You are fine, my friend. You are fine. It is out. It is out. Very well played. Good work.
Indeed, the very small fire that had started is completely put out by the timely advice of Manto. Anything else from you, Blip?
I will crawl the rest of the way to Manto, panting. I have been in grave danger. Whew.
All right. Vasa, at the start of your turn, you hear a voice in your head. I have gotten the Imperial family to safety. Be smart. Keep the boy safe. And I will see you again.
As always, my master, I will do what I can.
The Force will be with you. Always. Could resist. Sorry.
Keep that.
And now we get a phone call from Disney.
Drawing deep on the force that lies within me. No. I pull myself up onto the edge of the stage, and following after Anwir's footsteps, I work my way to the edge of this open trapdoor. And bold as he is, I am not quite as bold. I will still throw myself down that ladder and try my best to recreate what I've seen.
All right. So there is an assassin there. Moving in that direction, you feel like you will expose yourself to an attack. Do you wish to do it anyway?
I feel I must.
Very well. As you leap somewhat past and somewhat over this Kender, who earlier this evening regaled you with a song, the assassin slashes out, apparently trying to hit her, but you unfortunately are in the way at the very wrong moment. But he rolls a 12. Does that hit?
It ties my AC. However, this seems oddly familiar. This Kinder, this stage, this man. And he'll roll a 6.
Excellent. In that case, you manage to jump and contort your body in such a way that the blade not only misses you, but goes nowhere near Teely. As you plummet down the ladder, please roll an acrobatics check for me.
Well, as nimble as my dashing through the air was, my landing is much less so with a nat 1.
You landed on your dark side. Unfortunate.
I hate it when Schwartzes get tangled.
You do land prone. However, in my games, the first 10 feet is free. You take no bludgeoning damage from the fall, managing to slow yourself just enough by putting a hand out and hitting the rungs as you fall down, bruised but unhurt. Anwir, you manage to barely step out of the way as a green-robed mage of your acquaintance lands at your feet.
I will use my movement to help Lhasa up from the prone position. And I will look towards Tulian and put a finger to my lips, looking at Lhasa. I'm going to use my bonus action to hide in the shadows.
Very well.
Can I use that and then hold an action?
Yes, you can.
Okay, then I will use my bonus action to hide in the shadows. Oh, wow. That is a nat 1 on my stealth, which translates to a 6. But even so, my held action, I'm going to put the short sword down, and in one movement, I'm going to reach behind me to grab the bow that is strapped to my back. And as I reach back, my index and middle fingers grab an arrow in the quiver just below the fletching.
Oh, before you go any further, I have to remind you that you were disarmed before you were allowed into the theater.
Oh, I was disarmed.
You can't say that to Anwir. You can say that to anyone else, but you cannot say that to Anwir.
I was disarmed. I was disarmed. One disarm. Okay, in that case, I will do no such thing. Thank you for the reminder, you evil bastard, and I will keep the short sword in my hand. And now that I know that I can't do that, I will position myself in front of the door that Tulian heard something from.
All right, so you and Tulian are bracing the door. One of you on one side, the other one on the other.
My held action is a short sword attack.
Understood. Bringing us to Farron.
Okay, gingerly tiptoeing, running clumsily down this ice frosty path and moaning along the way. Oh, I don't know what's worse, the smell of burning flesh or there's some sort of gully dwarf smell. And I look up to see Blip. Ah, great. And I will follow in Larsa's footsteps. I'll pull myself up on the stage and... Oh, Teely, is that you?
I look back at Farron and go to wave open hand. Nearly drop the dagger, but I catch it before it hits the floor.
Oh,
And I'll carry on my movement, and I think I finish there with difficult terrain.
Very good. At the end of your turn, Farron, there is a cracking sound as the plaster on the top of this auditorium, heated from the fire, begins to crack, and you see a large amount of rubble tumble down from the roof, blocking the entrance to the auditorium. The fire is briefly put out there, but then begins to lick around the dust that has been created by this collapse and begins to burn all the brighter. Teely, it is your turn.
All right. I look up at this disgusting person and I scrunch my face up with an angry expression and I try again with the dagger and the short sword. Okay, so the dagger is a 23 to hit.
Well, that is certainly a hit.
And that is 5 bludgeoning damage.
Bludgeoning damage from the dagger, that's impressive.
Oh, no. That is 5 piercing damage.
Very good.
So used to saying bludgeoning with the poopak.
Right.
And the short sword is unfortunately another 12.
All right, so the short sword swings wide, but as he lifts a leg to avoid it, he is off balance and you drive your dagger deep into his thigh and he hisses in pain.
you know, it's a good thing you wear a mask. Even with it, I can tell you have a face that, I mean, I don't even think your mother loved it, honestly.
Nice, all right. That's going to bring us to Manto.
So far, I see everybody coalescing around this trap door. That's correct?
Correct, indeed.
Great. I suppose, being the type of person that I am, I will... And this assassin is still not dead.
Still not dead.
Okay, well, before I jump down, because it's an action to switch weapons, correct? Or is that a bonus action?
It is free action. You can do it once per turn for free.
Great. I am going to switch out the short bow for the short sword.
Okay.
And I am going to attack this assassin.
Very well.
And that is going to be probably not enough. That is a 9 to hit.
A 9 indeed is a miss.
I thought as such. Inferior weapons. My father could make far better. And I will stay put.
Really?
Well, because I would provoke an attack of opportunity if I move out.
He's already used his attack of opportunity.
Oh, he has. Wonderful.
Yeah, he used it on Lhasa.
Great. I'm going to move back here then. By the very, very bulky dwarf Farron.
You forgot handsome.
That is going to bring us to the assassin's turn. The assassin slashes at you again, Teely, as he starts to back away. Ooh, Teely.
Oh, no.
Farron, you see Teely the Kender reel as the assassin brings down his short sword, double-handed, right into her shoulder. She gasps in pain as a critical hit is rolled. She takes 6 points of slashing damage.
I'm down.
And she falls unconscious and prone and dying. He then steps away, looking like he is going to pass through the curtain and out. Tullian furrows his brows below, looking at you, Anwir. Shaking his head, he mouths, I heard something, but I think it's gone now. Blip.
I run the rest of the way to Manto and stand at his side. Where we go?
I am not sure, my friend. We are surrounded by many faces that I don't know, but they have been helping. There appears to be someone of great importance that has been taken or gone or down this trap door, but then the assassin runs away. I'm not sure what's going on.
Manto, help me. I don't know where dinner is.
Can't be thinking about your stomach now. Get down the hatch. That's where the prince is. I will kneel down and pick Teely up.
I glance over at him. I glance back to Manto. And Blip need dinner.
My friend, dinner is not what you are thinking. It is the name of her pet.
I should have known. Quick, get the latch up. I need to help the Kender. Oh, grab her weapon, will you?
I hold up my table leg. Here.
Not the hoopak.
I look around.
And I point to it.
There's another crash from the auditorium as more of the ceiling comes down.
I jump down the hatch.
Seeing something that I have not seen before but suspect what it is, will grab the hoopak.
You pick up a oddly sized staff with a sling on the end of it. And Farron, yes, you pick up Teely, who lolls unconscious in your arms as you leap down. With combat being ended here, you're able to move down. I don't need a roll. That just leaves Manto and Blip on the stage as the auditorium burns.
Realizing this is probably the only way out, go down this trapdoor. Blip, we must go this way. I fear that these others are right. There's no going back the way we came.
Blip, go there. I walk up and, not realizing there's a ladder, I walk straight into the hole and plummet to the bottom with a crash.
As you do, somewhere in the deep recesses of your mind, you think, back the way we came, but this is the way you came. This is going back the way you came. Anyway, that thought is jarred out of your brain as you land on your butt, the bottom of the ladder.
If combat has ended, I would like to make a perception check to see if I can hear what it is that Tulian heard before.
All right. Make a perception check for me, Anwir.
Oh, jeez. I think that I am cursed in this game. I rolled a 3. That is a total of 10.
Do you have inspiration?
You have a d6.
I do. I don't think this is... well, you know what? Yeah, I might as well use it since I only have it for 10 more minutes. I rolled a 1. That's an 11.
Listening at the door, the panting and the groans from those that have been wounded and those that are standing up from their fall, it's too loud. You can't tell if what you're hearing is coming from inside the room or on the other side of the door.
I move to Farron, who's holding the kender. Is she all right?
No, she's dying. I lay her down on the floor and I pull out my griffin wing holy symbol and place it on top of her forehead.
Before you do that, Farron, Teely, will you roll me a death saving throw?
Yeah, that's just a d20, right?
Correct.
Oh, a 19.
A 19. All right, so Farron, as you look at her, you see her wound is grievous, but she is still breathing and her face is flushed.
I place the griffin wing holy symbol upon her head and place my hand on top of it. And I speak the words, Bashith Mahapsati. And a huge glow of white silver light floods out and enters into her body, casting Cure Wounds for 8 back.
Very nice. And indeed, as Farron casts this spell, this room is dimly lit, but not dark, as the light from the hatch above is illuminating it pretty well. But when he casts the spell, this light, glorious, this beautiful light, pours out of him, shines down upon the Kender's body, and then spreads out, enveloping you all, as you all get your very first good look at each other in the holy light of true healing power.
May I ask, what does it feel like that when I am regaining consciousness? Does it have a feeling effect on the body?
Pain that then recedes, and there is a deep sense of rightness that comes over you. There is a debt to be paid, and this power that was put into you is part of fulfilling that debt. Although you have no idea what the context of this feeling is, this is what inexplicably comes over you before it begins to fade into memory like a dream.
Farron?
It's good to see you alive, girl.
Oh, good. I thought I was dead. What happened?
And I reach over and feel where my wound was, and feeling it healed a little bit. A perplexed look goes across my face.
How long's it been? How many days?
Baffling indeed, my dear. It's been about 10 seconds.
I knew it. My mom always said I was special. I knew I had a power, and it's super healing. I do it!
I raise my arms. I jump up.
Yes, I knew it. I knew I was special. Yes.
In the middle of this outburst, I will run to you and gently put a finger on your lips, and I will signal quietly that the prince is still in our presence and that we need to leave.
Anything for you.
I kind of look at you cockeyed for a moment, and I look to Tullian. Where do we go?
True healer. A miracle. Exactly what is needed in this dark night. Praise the gods.
I agree. The gods must have bestowed this power on me. I am truly one of a kind. Miss Teely Tumblewood, it's nice to meet you.
The miracle will have to be discussed later. We must hurry.
Tullian looks at each of you in turn, recognizing Lhasa, recognizing Anwir. Looks with a strange, almost awed look at Farron, but then looks towards you, Manto and Blip, and his expression hardens. Who are you?
My lord, we were... well, Teely and I were brought in to be performers in this great production, and as you can see, it has been interrupted. This is my companion, Blip. There was a minor misunderstanding in the pits yesterday, and, well, we are here now. But I am native to this land.
Tullian, I've watched each of them fall, one of the assassins. They pose no threat here.
He looks at you, and you see his jaw harden, and then he nods. This is a good opportunity, I think, for each of you to re-describe yourselves. Now that you're all looking at each other for the first time, take into consideration what has just happened, so things about your normal costume might have changed, but describe yourselves, paint a picture for each other so that we have a clear sense of who is in this little room below the burning theater. Let us start with Farron.
When you look at me, you see a shaved head at the sides, and down the middle is a mohawk tied back into a ponytail. I am bare-chested with a toga with the symbol of a silver griffin wing around my neck that is now showing where before it was hidden. I have a glorious beard with 3 neatly tied braids coming down, capped with gold beads.
Next, we will have Teely.
I am a 3-foot-tall kender with light brown hair tied up into the classic top knot, wearing brightly colored clothing, really high boots, and just a very thick skirt that, as I move, you can hear all kinds of movements from inside of it. I'm standing pretty proudly, feeling that I am the magical healer the world has ever needed. Covered in brightly colored makeup and jewelry, just very bright and colorful.
Anwir.
I am standing in my black combat leathers. The half cape that normally covers my left arm has been brushed behind me, and so the stub of my left arm is clearly visible and wrapped in a bandage. My right arm still is gripping the short sword, and my blue eyes are darting back and forth rapidly, awaiting for our meeting to be interrupted by a threat. Now that I've had some time to clean up, my beard is cropped very short. It's rather scraggly, but still looks fairly neat and close to the skin. My dark hair is brushed over my eyes to mask my expression, but I have rather dark features, and I look thoroughly solemn.
Blip.
I stand a tall, strong, and stocky 3.5 foot tall, covered in a fine layer of dust and soot, mud caked everywhere. I've got thick, dark, muddy brown hair with pale, muddy brown eyes. I run my hands over my flower sack dress, trying to knock off any traces of the fire from before. And as I do, my hands brush against the various pots and pans that are strapped to my waist. And I reach over with one of my hands and adjust my cloth and various animal hide bracers on my arm. They look distinctly like they may be made of rat skin, as I tuck a trailing thread that is potentially a rat tail back inside.
I just have this image of you taking a rat and just like shoving your hand down its throat until it's born on your
God.
on your. It's a bracer.
Look, do you know how cool those teeth would look as decoration?
I gotta say, I feel bad for anyone if they ever cosplay Blip.
I don't.
Oh, yes.
I want to see it.
Lhasa.
I stand at 5'7", looking down the end of my nose at these smaller folk gathered around, Farron and Teely. Fascinating. These magics, although I have practiced some, I have never seen any of its kind. And the look of amazement and utter shock is plastered all over my face, and I'm held still by the shock of what I have seen unfold before me. My fiery red hair cascading around me, sweat heavy on my brow, bits of ash from the burning cling to me. The green robes with the white trim have managed to stay relatively clean in spite of all of this. But the bindings that I wrap my hands in are smeared with the blood and ash of the stage from where I climbed up. The various pouches and the large leather-bound book by my side hang silently as I contemplate what exactly is to be done. My eyes fall to the prince, and a glimmer in those green eyes seems to say that something must be done.
And last but not least, Manto.
I had obviously been dressed up for this production in this fake plate mail, but as the battle ensued, I ripped much of it off, and then I also took quite a bit of damage in this fight, and so most of this has been torn asunder, and underneath it, I am wearing what I normally wear, which is leather jerkin and leather pants. Very practical clothing, does provide a little bit of protection, but I look very much like a lower class resident of Gwynnedd in that I do have tanner skin. My hair is twisted back into twists and it's cropped off above my shoulders. I have tattoos on my face, but unlike the upper class in Gwynnedd, it does not have any sort of symbolism as to rank and position and so forth. It's more would identify me as what I was born into, which is working class. And you can tell from my physique that and just looking at my hands, that I have spent much of my life doing grueling work. But like many of the young men in Gwynnedd, for some reason, I seem to have very supple facial skin. But for the elves in the party, this might not look like anything unusual. But for others in the party, it might be something that sticks out to you.
Wonderful. Tulian stands there, his dark skin with perspiring, short hair, cut almost all the way down to the skin. A toga on top of the scale mail of the house guard, the imperial guard of Gwynnedd, the Ducarians. And still huddled in the corner, wiping off the golden makeup from his face with the side of his red cowl, is a boy, looks to be about 13 or 14 years old. He is a bit gangly, but also with dark skin, short black hair. And as he wipes away the makeup, you begin to see that he has no identifying marks or whorls on his face at all. Of course, all of these descriptions and all of this information, you all take in very quickly as you quickly scan the room, looking at one another, as the danger is not over. Tullian Haxos looks at you all, looks at you, Manto, looks at you, Anwir, and grits his jaw and nods. And he says, I am Tullian Haxos. I am a captain of the Imperial Guard, and this is my charge. His Imperial Highness Jarvan Mercardio Redic VI. We are getting him to safety at all cost. Is that clear?
Absolutely.
Lead the way.
Of course. Just grant me one moment, please. I move my way towards the prince, and I say, I hate to disturb you at this moment, but are you armored in any way, or are these simply the robes that you wear for the stage production? There may be something I can do.
I'm not wearing an armor.
Then, please, if you would do me the honor that I may lay my hands on you, I may bestow.
Tullian takes a step forward with his hand on his sword, and he's just a boy. Don't. And Jarvan holds up a hand and says, is this going to be magic?
Yes, it will. But I promise you, just as my master is taking care of his lordship, I too shall watch over him.
Jarvan's eyes are wide, and he looks over at Tullian, who licks his lips and looks very nervous. You make a persuasion check for me, Lhasa.
Teely, meanwhile, has stood next to Lhasa and eagerly awaits her turn to speak with Jarvan.
All right.
12?
12. Tullian comes over and puts a hand on Jarvan and looks you dead in the eye, and he says, if he so much as winces.
Yes, of course. If there shall be any pain, my lord, I will be sure to pay the price in full. After you are safe, of course.
Jarvan looks wide-eyed at you, his mouth trembling a little bit, but his eyes are bright. He is perhaps equal parts scared and excited.
With a trembling hand, I reach up and I wipe some of the sweat from my brow and wipe it down the sides of my robes. Place my hands upon the sides of him and close my eyes and speak. O shell and chitin, of stone and bone, please make this flesh your home. And I cast mage armor on him.
Wow. A glow and a distortion of power begins to ripple right around the edge of his body. Tullian withdraws his hand with a gasp, and Jarvan looks down at his hands. Magic.
Yes, my lord. And it will grant you protection. This is as good as any hide or leather you might find. I guarantee it.
Jarvan is quite amazed and distracted. Has not noticed you there yet, Teely.
I begin picking at my nails.
Oh, Jarvan. Yes, that's all well and good, but if you get hit, who's gonna heal you? Well, it would have to be me, and I recall we had a little interaction earlier that either yourself or one of the other 6 of the Jarvans has my lyre. So do you want to give it back and have some healing from me if things go south?
Jarvan looks at you, his mouth opens and then closes with a snap. And you see a look of confusion, recognition, and then his eyes narrow as he stands up straight. He says, I am the prince. I have no need to give anything back when it's taken from a criminal.
My lord, it might behoove you, though, to provide us, return to us, I might say, the tools which we need in order to secure your protection. As you can see, we are using these castaway items from the assassins who were trying to kill you, who we stopped. But all of us have had our weapons taken from us, and It is very hard to ensure your safety if we cannot be adequately provided for, and that includes this young Kender's lyre.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true.
I've got this long sword, and I hold it up, and it slips out of my hand clumsily and clatters on the floor, and I pick it back up again.
Seeing everyone brandish their weapons, I glance around and then grab my table leg and hold it aloft and wave it around.
I growl underneath my breath and I look at Tulian. We're wasting time.
Quite. He nods and says, "You make a good point about weapons, but I can't imagine what we could possibly find in the theater. Maybe we'll find something as we leave, but until then, I suggest you make do with what you have. I'm afraid we don't have time to go looking around for instruments." He looks at you all and says, "The Emperor is likely to be extremely grateful to anyone who keeps his only son safe during this cowardly attack." He spits on the ground. "So, if the allegiance due to a sovereign of this land is not enough to inspire you, then keep that in mind. Now, shall we?"
Let's. Does Tulian lead the way out of the underground?
He does. He goes over to the door that he was listening to before and motions for everybody to be quiet once again.
Would you like us to lead?
He nods and opens the door very slowly. What do the rest of you do?
Can I make another perception check as he opens the door to see if I can hear anything with everything quiet?
You can.
Can I do the same?
Sure.
16, much better.
And while they do that, can I have a look and see if anyone has a dagger?
Tulian appears to have a dagger at his belt.
Great.
I do too, if you'd rather steal from me.
No, that was taken as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, all of our equipment was taken from us.
All of our stuff is taken. Yep.
Yeah, we just have what we got from the assassins. And my shield.
I am going to attempt to swap my short sword with a... Actually, no. I'm not gonna.
It's probably a good idea.
I do have your hoopak, though, Teely.
I would like that back.
And now that I see Teely awaken and knowing that we are going forth towards further danger, here, my friend, you seem to know how to operate this thing best. I think it is safest in your hands. And I will hand you back your hoopak.
As I go reaching for Tulian's dagger, I'm interrupted and
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I turn and take the hoopak instead.
All right. And with that, Tulian steps out into the room, into the corridor, I should say, outside the door. Directly across from where you are is another door leading into some other chamber, and there is a hallway that goes to the north and a hallway that goes to the south. As he opens the door, Anwir, with a 16, listening to the door just as he opens it to the point where it's impossible to not to be noticed, you hear the sounds of movement coming from the south.
Can I pull him back from the doorway?
You can try. Sure. Make just a general dexterity check.
Okay. And it's not like an aggressive pull, it's more just like a tug. It's a 10.
A 10. So you reach out and you make contact with him, but it's just got a little bit too much forward momentum as he steps out and you hear a voice. "Well, well, well. Right into my lap. Is the boy there too, fancy lord?" Tulian draws his sword and faces to the south, as we will roll initiative.
We love a good 6 on initiative.
I also rolled a 6. What's my modifier? Okay, 2. That's an 8 for me. I told you that 20 at the beginning of the game was going to ruin it for the rest of the game.
Tulian rolled a 2.
7.
Wow, we got some great initiatives this round.
I rolled a 32.
Wow.
I'm sorry? Is that a real thing?
She rolled so
No.
high, she rolled right out of the game. Amazing.
Ouch!
Oh, that came out harder than it meant. What did you roll?
A 7.
A
It's
7.
okay. That's what I deserved.
Nobody rolled well this turn, just so everybody knows, because at the...
Well, I did very well with a 15 minus 1 to a 14.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's pretty good.
Just rub it in, Jade.
I see everybody's initiatives, so we will begin the combat. Anwir, you're at the very top. Tullian draws his sword, looks to the south, and stands grimly.
Does Tullian look like he's going to make a motion to attack, or is he in a pose of defense and protection?
It's difficult to determine. This is the very first moment of this combat. He is a man of action. His weapon is drawn. You don't know if he is going to charge, or if he's going to defend, or if he's going to try and get to the other door. You have no way of knowing. This is the very first instant of combat. You don't know him well enough to read him.
Standing just at the entrance to the door, I'm going to press my back against the wall, just on the inside of the door, and I am going to hide.
Please roll a stealth check for me.
Wow. This curse, Sean, I feel like you have cursed my dice.
Why would I do that?
I have a 9 for stealth, but I am holding an action to strike the next person that comes within range.
What are you using as a weapon?
I still have my short sword.
So the next person who comes in range of you will strike.
Yeah, the next not nice person.
Got it.
Just to be clear.
No, yeah, okay. That specific you don't need to get.
Okay, well, just in case.
All right.
I trust you, but I don't trust you.
Farron, you're next.
I walk through the door and follow Tullian and look to the assassins.
So you see two that are similar to the ones you've been fighting upstairs, but then you see one that is slightly taller. His black cloak is over large silver pauldrons on his shoulders, and he has a grinning face and a dark, scraggly black beard. His skin is fair. He is not Ergothian.
I look to the assassins and hold my holy symbol.
O Silver Master, guide my words. You there, drop your weapons and throw them against the wall behind you, now!
And a pulse go out, and I will attempt to charm them.
So is this the spell Charm?
Nope.
What is it?
This is Order's Demand, my channel divinity.
My goodness, what is the range?
Anyone who can see or hear me within 30 foot.
All right, fantastic. And what am I rolling to resist this?
Order's Demand is a Wisdom saving throw, DC 13.
All right. So the first one has rolled a natural 20. So that is the leader has rolled a natural 20 to succeed. The ones behind him, one rolls a 7, the other one rolls a 4.
Yes.
As they do exactly what you say. They waver for a moment as the light emanates from you, and they raise their weapons and cast them behind them. They are both holding short swords. They clatter to the ground against the wall behind them. Looking, you can see the room that they were in has a few chairs and tables in it. Looks like a sitting room, a resting room, a place for actors or musicians to store their equipment and take a break.
And that will last until the end of my next turn, or if they take damage.
Okay, good to know. If they take damage, it breaks.
I step further away. That is me done.
Oh, you step back a ways? Okay. The leader shakes his head as this light, and he hides his face from it. He says, one of them tricky boys, are you? Adam, lads. And he runs forward to engage with you, Farron. He comes up, and as he does, he brings up a scimitar in one hand and a dagger in the other. He attacks 14.
Hits.
3 points of slashing. Attacks again with his dagger. Hitting AC 6.
Misses.
That is him done. Bringing us to Manto.
I am going to run in and assist this person who I just saw do weird magical stuff.
The dwarf Farron, you mean?
Yes, the dwarf Farron. And I am still not liking not having my equipment, because that was a 7 to hit.
I'm afraid a 7 doesn't hit.
Yes, I was assuming that that was not going to hit. I have not done this yet, but would you allow me to use my shield as a bonus action?
Explain.
Shove.
So you can't make a shove attack with a bonus action unless you have the feat for it.
Shield mastery.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Sorry.
I will be taking said feat soon, so.
Fair enough.
This is an FYI. Yeah, that's my turn.
All right. Brings us to Blip.
I will look around confused and realizing that Manto has dashed off without me, I will charge after him. And seeing this guy attacking Manto, I will become very upset. And, Manto, I save you! I will attempt to rush between his legs and pop up and punch the enemy.
Are you a small or a tiny creature, Blip? I believe you are small.
I'm small.
I love this imagery. So the surprise of suddenly having the gully dwarf suddenly appear underneath the assailant who just missed him, I'm going to say offsets the disadvantage that you have from attacking from a squeezing position. If in fact you are attacking from Manto's exact position, then that does give you disadvantage.
Yes.
But I'm going to let it even out because of the surprise. Go for it.
Yes. Alright. That will be an... Will that be my unarmed strike? It will.
Not if you're using the club. You're armed.
Okay. I will use my table leg. That is a 15 to hit.
As you bring the table leg down on his knee, he uses his reaction to parry, brings his short sword down and knocks it away, increasing his AC to the point where that 15 does not hit.
Damn. Okay. I only get one attack per turn. So I am going to use this time to, as my bonus action, rage.
Okay.
Grr. That is going to infuriate me, and I am going to scream in rage with my little blood vessel next to my eye pulsing wildly.
Anything else from you, Blip?
That is it.
Lhasa.
So I have an interesting question. Would it be possible to delay my turn until after the prince?
You can hold an action. It's impossible to change your initiative order in this rules system, but you can hold an action, which then becomes your reaction.
All right.
If you are holding a spell, then that then means that you are concentrating. And if you don't end up using that spell, for whatever reason the trigger doesn't go off, then you've lost the spell slot.
All right. Well, then I'm going to take a step, and then I will hold action with a prepared firebolt. And I will be waiting for somebody to enter this room who is opposing us.
Holding an action for someone to enter the room. Got it. That's going to bring us to Teely.
I charge towards the door to finally actually get a look at what we're facing.
All right.
And I run behind Farron. And I begin to reload my hoopak that Manto gave me. But as I go to put another rock inside the sling, I realize I'm still holding the short sword. And if I may, I would like to drop it and kick it over towards Manto.
All right, you do so. And as you do, you notice that coming down the hall are two other of these assassins that you have seen. You see they're just now entering into the hall, or they will be on their turn, I should say. They are coming around the corner from behind you, and you see them coming.
Okay.
And I turn my attention to them instead, as no one is being a human shield for me. And I will attempt to use my sling at them. That is a 16 to hit.
That's a hit.
Perfect. We love that for me. I have a whole box of dice, and I can't see my d4. What is this? Here we go. That is 6 damage.
Okay, yes. Another stone goes streaking out, striking the one on your right at the end of the hall just as he comes around the corner. Ah! Bloody! And he begins to advance upon you. Anything else, Teely?
We got some people behind us.
And that is the end of my turn.
Very good. Brings us to the assassins. 2 assassins in the room to the south are charmed, and they stand looking concernedly at what's going on. They both hesitantly move their hands to their bows and arrows, but then get a little stuck around the way, and they spend their turn shaking their head, not quite knowing what to do, torn between the compulsion to be friendly to Farron and to obey his command, but also knowing that their leader is probably going to hurt them if they don't do something about all of these people, but they spend their turn dealing with that. To the north, other assassins come running out. Neither one of them have the speed to get all the way to you, Teely, so they use the dash action. One moves past you, Teely, but not so far past that it incurs an attack of opportunity, so it flanks Tullian. The one that you struck with the Hoopak bolt comes running at you with a short sword and says, "Come here, you little filth!"
Oops.
Either one of them can take an attack this turn. Gonna bring us to Tullian. He gestures to the door to the east, says, "That way, I think." And he brings his sword down on the fellow who attacked Farron. Ooh, he has a critical hit.
Nice.
As his eyes blaze, his nose flares, and he brings his sword down with all of his might. Let's see here. Unfortunately, he didn't do very good damage on that. Well, he gets to roll again, doesn't he? Because it's a critical hit. Wow. Well, that's technically better. He rolled a total of 3 on the dice, adding to that a +4, so that is a total of 7 points of damage from that critical hit. Sure would have been nice if it had been better than that. Oh well. Onweir, it is your turn, back to the top of the order.
All right. Sensing that I am not particularly well hidden, I would like to try to re-stealth myself on the other side of the doorway.
Okay.
And
that will break a line of sight. So hide, much better hide roll.
Oh, finally. My goodness. 24 to hide. And then immediately I will pop out and attack with my short sword. Oh, that's much better. Terrible sneak attack damage, but I've hit with a 20.
Okay. You jump out from hiding, and your damage is?
7 damage.
7 damage. He gasps in surprise as you jump forward and slice him. Farron.
Okay. I look to the 2 assassins that I charmed that have just pulled their bows out.
You 2 over there, throw me them bows.
And I will attempt to stab with this clumsy longsword that I have.
Okay. Does your divine power continue on? They're still charmed?
They're still charmed by me until the end of my go.
All right.
I rolled a 13 plus only 3. 16 to hit.
16's a hit.
And that's a D8 plus 3. 6 damage. And I will then... No, I'll stay there.
All right. It is now the fellow who spoke in the first place. He grits his teeth as he looks at all of you and looks around the corner to see where Jarvan is huddling with Lhasa and snarls and says, "Maybe we can come to a deal, eh? Just hand him over. There's a lot more of us than there are of you. Maybe not at the moment, but if you know what's good for you, just walk away." As he says this, he is still fighting and attempts to slice at Farron again. Once with the scimitar, hitting AC 17.
Hits.
9 points of slashing damage. Then he tries to hit you with his dagger, hitting AC 19.
Hits.
6 points of piercing damage.
I'm down.
Farron, you drop to the ground, unconscious and dying.
What do we do?
That's going to bring us to Manto.
I am obviously very concerned by seeing this dwarf just fall and suspecting that he is the one responsible for the healing and not our little Kender friend. I am going to furiously swipe again. The main leader of the assassins is who I am swiping at. So that is going to be an 18 to hit.
That is a hit, and he cannot parry it.
Great. I am also going to spend a superiority die and attempt a trip attack.
Okay.
When you hit with a weapon attack, add the total to the damage roll, and then the person must make a strength saving throw. So that is going to be 10 points of damage.
10 points of damage, okay.
And then I need you to make a strength saving throw DC 12.
Strength saving throw DC 12. I have rolled an 8.
Great. You are now prone.
All right. So describe this for me, Manto.
Great. So I have been perhaps trying to fight too professionally. I am now resorting back into my ways as when I fight in the ring, and I'm now playing dirty. So when I go in for this swipe against him, I am slashing across his chest, and he does not realize that as I am slashing his chest, I am wrapping my leg behind his, and then I leverage him over my leg and shove him to the ground.
Very nice. He falls with a grunt. Ugh. Anything else, Manto?
Since he is now prone, I will please step back out of melee range. Because I'm kind of boxed in here, so I guess this is probably the only place I can go, right?
You can take a step back. You can move through your ally's space if you wish.
Oh, okay, that's right. I can do that.
You can't move through an enemy's space. So if you want to go back into the room, you can.
No, I'm just gonna back away here. I think here is good. 5 feet step away from the lead assassin, and I am flanked by Onweir, and then also surrounded by Blip and our lovely prince.
Blip, it is your turn.
All right. I am going to stomp my foot in absolute fury and grab my amazing wooden table leg with both hands, squeeze it as hard as I can with my muscles bulging, and I'm going to charge forward and bring my table leg crashing down onto his head.
All right, you have advantage on this attack because he is prone.
Yes. All right, that is a 17.
That is a hit, but go ahead and crit fish.
2 17s.
2 17s. He cannot use his reaction to parry. It only gets him to AC 16, so 17 hits.
Amazing. I bring that table leg down with all of the force I can muster. So that will make my total of 6 damage.
Total of 6 damage.
As I bludgeon him senseless.
The table leg does come down and smack right on his face. He grunts in pain as blood begins to spurt from his nose. Lhasa.
I take a moment to move forward along the side wall so that I can get a better view in through this doorway at this press of bodies inside.
Jarvan stays with you.
However, it seems that from my position, it would not be very easy to throw any magics inside without risking my allies, and so I will again prepare and wait.
Alrighty. That brings us to Teely.
Okay, so the assassin that I am face to face with, I am going to hold my hoopak both-handed and just reflexively try and bonk him on the head, Blip style. And
go for it.
That is a 3 to hit.
Oh no.
And it would have been max damage as well. I'm so mad.
I'm afraid a 3 does not hit.
No, okay. I just... I'm sorry to do this. I just say, I could really use a hand here. And I give Bardic Inspiration to Onweir.
Nice.
No, just to be sure, Lhasa would have a line of sight despite the fact that we are in between him. Is that correct?
It's true. With a ranged spell attack, it would be at disadvantage because he's prone, but you would still have a shot, Laza. You have to worry about shooting through enemies, but not allies.
My concern is shooting through my allies at a disadvantage could cause some problems. But
I'm willing to bet you have better aim than that.
fair enough, in which case, I suppose it would be wrong of me to not try and hit the man who's on the ground.
Never trust the DM.
So is that disadvantage because he is prone, but go for it anyway.
Well, 2 16s on die says yes.
And he cannot parry a ranged attack, so both of those hit.
Only 2 damage, however.
Only 2 damage. Nickelin and diming him. It is now the assassin's turn. The ones to the south shake their heads in confusion as the effects of Farron's holy power wear off. They look towards their leader, who lies prone. Ganter, you all right? No names, idiot. Keep fighting. He'll kill us all if we don't bring him the prince. The assassins draw their bows and fire. One at you, Blip. Ooh, hitting AC 19. I believe that is a hit.
That is a hit.
So, you take 5 points of piercing, reduced to 2 thanks to your rage. The other one fires at Tullian. He has missed with a 10. To the north, the one attacking you, Teely, balances for a moment as if he's contemplating trying to run around you, but then he suddenly lashes out with his short sword. But he misses with a 7.
Oh, thank goodness.
The other one to the north attacks Tullian with a short sword, and there is a hiss of pain as a long wound opens up on his forearm as he's been hit with a 17, doing 7 points of slashing. That is going to bring us to his turn. Tullian looks at the wound on his arm and at the unconscious form of Farron and back at Jarvan as a grim expression crosses his face. He reaches down and begins to drag Farron's unconscious body away from danger, bracing himself for the opportunity attack, which misses with an 11. Lucky, lucky. He drags Farron across the hall to the other door and uses his action to kick it open, blasts open, revealing a very large room behind it. He moves Farron into the room and then stands aside, motioning towards you and the prince, Lhasa. He wants you to follow him across from where you are, across the hall to this other room. That is Tulid's turn, which brings us to Anwir.
Well, that changes what I'm going to do. I'm going to step forward at the fallen figure of Gunter, and I am going to stab him with my short sword at advantage.
Ooh, you have advantage. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Ho, 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 ho.
An 18.
An 18, which he cannot parry.
And because he is engaged with other individuals, that is 13 points of piercing damage.
How do you kill Ganter?
After hearing his threat, seeing him fallen and slightly burned, in an effort to make an example, I step forward and draw my short sword across his neck, spilling his blood and letting it spurt all over his body in an effort to scare the other assassins.
Well, it's a gruesome display as Ganter coughs and sputters, choking to death on his own crimson blood.
And with my remaining movement, I am actually going to stay put. Well said. Good job.
Okay. Farron, I need a death saving throw from you.
Dun, 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 dun. 12.
Farron, as you lie there, your heart desperately beating to keep you alive, what would be a regret of Farron's if he were to expire here and now?
The main regret I'd have is not completing my mission that was set out before me by my goddess.
Very well. Brings us to Ganter, who is dead. Next up is Manto.
I am going to look at these other 2 assassins because obviously the leader has now been killed in a most gruesome way. And I am going to shout at them, "Yield now, or suffer the same fate."
All right. Making an intimidation check, I assume?
Yes, please.
All right. Roll it.
15?
15. They look at each other and lick their lips and begin taking steps back, but they still have their bows trained upon you.
Oh, so they have bows, not swords.
Yeah, they threw their short swords behind them because of Farron's command.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the two charmed ones. I was talking about the two at the north
Oh.
that are actively fighting us.
So you turn to... So the ones to the south are also actively fighting. They're shooting bows. The ones to the north
Oh, they are. Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I'm yelling that to everyone.
To everyone. All right.
And they saw me trip Ganter, so yeah.
They seem a little shaken, a little less sure of themselves as they steady themselves to continue on with the fight, but your words have had an effect.
Okay. But they don't disengage.
They do not.
Okay. Then I am going to hold my ground and look very menacing.
All right, Blip.
After seeing all of that happen, I am going to spin around in my furied state, and I'm going to glance at Manto. What I do?
Kill them.
Ugh. And I'm going to spin back to the assassins directly in front of me, and I'm going to charge.
All right.
I gave you a chance.
She unleashed the bulldog. Rawr, 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 rawr. And as I approach, I am going to attempt to leap into the air with my amazing table leg club and bring it down over their head, even though I can't reach their head.
Excellent. Go for it. Roll your attack.
I think Blip's got like small dog syndrome.
I am not a chihuahua, thank you.
Are we sure about that?
Oh, Blip.
I have do I have advantage?
You don't have an advantage.
Dang, gummit.
Sorry. 10 does not hit Blip.
I'm gonna bounce off their chest. Boink.
Nice. Lhasa.
I'm going to begin moving forward, trying to get a look into this room. I want to lead the prince through, but there's quite a lot of danger.
Indeed.
Being as I'm going first, I think I will draw any attacks of opportunity myself as we rush into the room that Tullian had kicked open for us.
Okay. The assassin that is currently engaged with Anwir is the closest one to you as you zip through the battle, passing Manto, passing Tullian, and heading into the room beyond where he has put the unconscious form of Farron. The one fighting Anwir does see you running by and tries to zip out with his short sword to catch you, but he is at disadvantage as he is frightened of Manto for this round. So that is going to be a natural 1.
Yeah, I did a thing.
He has missed his attack of opportunity on you. Since you drew it, Jarvan is able to move through without difficulty and moves to the other side. But as he does, you hear the assassins gasp. It's him! It's him! That's the one! That's the prince! Get him! Lhasa, you have moved. Do you have an action you wish to do?
Unfortunately, my action was to dash, and so I have no other action available.
That is unfortunate.
Also, if I may make a slight adjustment and position myself over the top of Farron, thereby blocking the doorway.
Sure, absolutely. The unconscious form of the dwarf is still breathing, but you could see 2 large slashes across his body that look extremely dangerous, not treated soon. The room beyond has a wooden floor, but it is very dark. You could see shadowy forms with your dark vision. Looks like pieces of furniture or statuary, but all of them covered with tarps or canvas sheets to keep the dust off them, you assume. There is a path of sorts moving through the midst of them, and at the far end of it, just at the edge of what you're able to see, you could see the open hatch of what appears to be a drain, some sort of sewer entrance or a ditch. Seems a little odd for it to be here, but that's what it appears to be. As I said, it is open. Now, Teely, your turn.
Okay. Teely still gripping the hoopak with both hands, yells to the companions still in the hallway.
Okay. The next time we run to that room, okay?
And I will make my final hit, or attempt to hit, on the assassin with a 7 to hit.
Dear, 7 does not hit.
I will stand my ground, and once the others retreat into that room, I will join them.
Oh, good. This is getting tense. All right, it is the assassin's turn. The one that you just missed, Teely, dives out of the way of your hoopak blow and then attempts to retaliate with a short sword blow, hitting AC 18. Man, unfortunate.
Yeah, that hits.
Wait. That 18 does not hit because it is a disadvantage thanks to the fear instilled by Manto.
I was just gonna ask. Woot woot.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, so in that case, it missed. Anwir, the one attacking you, also at disadvantage. 12?
That is a miss.
A miss. My goodness. The assassin that is attacking you, or the one that you missed on your attack, blipped to the south, takes a step back, incurring an attack of opportunity if you wish to take it.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do. Very much so. I'm going to jump forward and I am going to bring my table leg from the ground up right between his knees.
Ooh.
Come on. That is a 20 to hit.
Nice, that is a hit.
Yes. And 3 points, but that should be 5 damage since I am still raging.
Got it. He groans. You smelly little. And he brings up his bow shakily, attempt to hit you with disadvantage thanks to Manto's intimidation check earlier.
Amazing.
Hitting AC 5.
Nope.
The one that is also next to you, the fellow to the side of the one that you just nailed in the crotch, steps around to the corner outside of the view of everyone else to the north and tries to shoot you with his short bow. This one also at disadvantage. That's going to hit with double 19s, though.
That does indeed hit.
That is 7 points of piercing. Don't forget to take half damage thanks to rage.
Amazing. Okay, and I grunt with the pain, but as I'm still in complete rage mode, I don't notice it too much.
All right. Tullian Haxos runs and attacks the assassin that is attacking you, Anwir. As he does, he says, "Go!" And he slashes at him, hitting AC 23, which is a hit. He does almost max damage on that, which is enough to kill the assassin that is threatening you, Anwir.
Very nice.
He then steps forward, joining Teely facing to the north. Brings us to the top of the order with Anwir.
Seeing our fallen dwarf, I will run into the room, or run east into the room where Lhasa is standing over his body, and I will pull my cape and I will try to staunch the bleeding with it, making a medicine check if I can.
Absolutely, roll a medicine check.
Woo. That is a 19.
19 is a success. You apply pressure, having seen many such wounds in your life. You apply pressure to these wounds and manage to stop the bleeding as Farron, you are no longer dying.
Good to hear.
With my bonus action, I will sneak into the corner of the door frame and I will look to Lhasa and say, "You must finish them. They need your strength. Go. I will protect them."
I understand. In the back, there's a grating. If you can get to it, perhaps you can get them out.
Understood.
All right, excellent, Anwir. And I assume that is a stealth check as part of cunning action?
Correct. With my stealth, I rolled a 23.
You feel pretty stealthy.
Well, yay.
Farron, the dire situation you found yourself in a few moments ago has changed. What does Farron wish he could say to anyone that he has met in the past 24 hours that he might not have had a chance to say.
I guess it would be to the Emperor, and having not been able to give the gift of a dragon metal dagger as a gift for his son.
Very good. Manto, it is your turn.
Yes. Okay, so we have now killed yet another assassin. Do the remaining assassins seem like they are going to run away at all, or are they continuing to stand their ground?
It is not your impression that they're going to run, especially the ones to the south. They appear to be trapped. The one to the north is in a more advantageous position. He could run away, but you don't know that he is.
He has Tulian and Teely right there, though, correct?
Correct.
Great. I am going to move towards the assassins at the south, where Blip is, and unless they run away from me, I'm going to attack the assassin that is closest to Blip.
All right, they do not run away from you, and you have a feeling that their momentary fear of you has passed.
Okay. No matter, I am going to hit with a 22.
You certainly are. This is the one that Blip hit. Was unfortunate enough to receive a blow to the crotch earlier, I believe.
Yes, so I am assuming he is still doubled over with pain because that is 9 points of damage.
9 points of damage. Well, he managed to straighten up a little bit to loose an arrow which missed. However, yes, 9 points of damage will be enough to cave in his skull as he drops dead.
With a free action, I will look at the other assassin and yell, "You are next!"
Alrighty. Blip.
Hearing Manto's yell, I will turn to the assassin against the wall and I will charge forward, drenched in the sweat of my fury and rage.
You smell so good right now.
Yes!
It's the smell of her people.
It's the smell of sweat and anger and a little bit of mud. Yeah. That is a 12.
A 12 is exactly what you needed to roll.
Yes! Yes. Okay. That is 8 points of damage with my range.
Wow, that is a tremendous blow. He crashes against the wall, stunned for a moment, shakes his head, regains his senses, still standing, but is looking very weak-legged.
Right.
Anything else, Blip?
No, I will just growl at him and stand my ground.
All right, Lhasa.
Hearing the words of Anwir, I know that he is right. This is something that I must do. And so I step forward out of the doorway, make eye contact with the assassin, and lean in deep to my hands once more. Sleeping spark of old, awakened cinder, O flame! And I breathe another bolt of fire at this assassin.
Very nice.
That is going to be a 14.
That is a hit.
5 damage.
5 damage kills this man as he screams in pain, dropping to the ground, wreathed in fire.
Please, through the door. We must go, quickly.
Teely, your opponent has been killed by magic.
I got a lot of powers today, huh? Whoa, look at me go. No, I'm joking. I turn, and with a glimmer and sparkle of wonder in my eyes, I look at Lhasa.
Whoa, look at us, we're both getting powers today!
And I charge into the room, and as I get to the door, I remember that there was the leader, and I grab him and try and also pull him in the room with me. That'll be Gunter.
Okay. You're awful wee. I think I'm going to need a strength check on this.
I'm probably gonna fail, but you know what? He's probably carrying something pretty cool. Okay, that is a 14 minus 1, so that's 13 strength.
Not bad. You were able to move him a few feet. It is not worth the effort, as looking at him, he doesn't look like he's got that much on him. Except he does have a dagger in one of his hands.
I will take it. It's just what I needed. Thank the gods!
And I will grab it, and I will take it, and it will be my precious.
Okay. It's going to bring us to the lone assassin that remains, who...
Bring it.
He looks down at you, Blip. It's like, get away! Get away! And he brings his
Why is it biting me?
bow and arrow almost parallel to his body, aiming straight down at you as he's going to try and fire an arrow at you at disadvantage because you are so close.
And also, I am glaring right at him, having just yelled at him too, for whatever that's worth.
Well, he rolled a 6, so it completely misses. And that is his turn.
It's Blip's smell, it's her aura.
Yes.
He's just like very distracted.
He takes a deep breath and, oh, that's vile. Oh, and he just can't deal.
That's real.
Tullian looks around, looks down the hall at you, Manto, and says, inside, I hear more coming.
We got to kill that last one.
Yeah, he's not dead yet. We cannot leave with this one still breathing.
He looks toward the north, readies his sword, shakes his shoulders, and prepares himself for what he hears coming. It's going to bring us to Farron. Farron, roll a d4 for me.
D4, you say? I rolled a 3.
You will awaken naturally from this recent adventure into Slumberland in 3 hours.
Thank you.
Onweir, it is your turn.
The battle is raging to the south of me. I can't leave Farron's body. So I will do my best. This is not going to go terribly well, but I will do my best to hook Farron's arm around my neck and stand him up as my action.
If that is your action, I'm not going to force you to make a roll for it, as you are strong enough, I think, to hold up a dwarf or at least move a dwarf. I will allow you to move at half speed if that is what you wish to do.
I will do that, and I will look to the prince and say, they will follow shortly. Come with me. And I will move with Farron's body 15 feet in.
I would have dropped that longsword, by the way. It would be on the floor.
That's fine. We don't need it.
I could think of someone who might want it.
I have one arm, so, what do you want from me, bud?
Farron and Onweir move into the room, going towards the grate. Although I will say, Onweir, as you enter the room, the light from outside does show you the path, but it is very dark. There's no light source in here other than the light streaming from the door.
Just so you know, I would not move without the prince.
Prince does come with you. Manto.
How is this assassin looking that just tried to shoot Blip?
You could see the eye slit in his mask. You could see the dark makeup that is surrounding his eyes, but you see the whites of his eyes. They are wide. He's frightened.
Okay. I am going to shoot at him with my short bow.
All right, so you drop your short sword, equip your short bow, pull out an arrow.
Well, I'm sheathing my short sword, not dropping it, but yes.
So believe it or not, by the rules of D&D, sheathing and then taking out another item count as two separate interact with objects. So you can drop and pull something out.
Oh, okay. And then I can pick up?
So basically what would happen is you drop, pull out, use, if you want to get the short sword again, you drop the bow and pick up the short sword for free.
Okay, gotcha. Can I do 2 free actions in the same turn, though?
You cannot. If that is, you could use a free action, and then the second free action, we come to some arrangement, maybe call it your bonus action, part of your movement, but you get one free action per round. Or I should say one interact with object for free per round.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to shoot at him. And that is going to be 15 to hit.
That is a hit.
All right. 6 plus 2 is 8 damage.
The arrow streaks across the room, passing right over Blip's head, burying itself deep within the man's heart. He drops to the ground dead.
Great. Then I will bonus action.
There you go.
Pick my sword back up. And I will move 30 feet to this door now. And I will shout, Blip! Now we've run to the door!
Now all of you can hear the sound of more footsteps coming from the north. Each of you in your turn and in your own time can enter into the other room. As each of you step in, you can see shapes of shadow in each corner, some large, some small, most of them, if not all, covered with these tarps. You also hear a rumbling sound from above. It's somewhat distant. Hard to tell if it's thunder or something else. Blip, you have entered in, correct?
Yes, I have.
All right, Tullian enters in as well, and the group begins to make its way across the room. Blip, you recognize this room. This is the room that you first entered when you came up from the sewer. Those of you who have a bit more perceptive awareness of your surroundings, based on where you came down to this level and now where you've moved, you think that you might be underneath the audience. As you move across the room, a figure emerges from the grate. Stepping up slowly, putting one hand on the floor, leaping up, landing in front of you all. He is wearing...
His dinner.
It's dinner. He is wearing gruesome-looking plate mail, but he's moving incredibly fluidly for wearing it. His skin is exceptionally pale. His hair is gray and slicked back. He has a large scar on the right side of his face, and he is smiling cruelly as he comes forward. What is your passive investigation, Anwir?
Passive investigation is 18.
Good Lord. Well, so even despite the fact that it is dark, which takes a little off of that check, you look and you can see as he steps forward, he moves past part of the furniture that you see here, and hanging behind him, moving as he moves, is a black cape. And he passes one of these pieces of furniture, and you look and you see the cape does not move as if it's flowing over a piece of furniture. It stays perfectly attached to his body, passing through the furniture without so much as a ripple. That is enough to clue you into the fact this is an illusion. As soon as you become aware of that fact, you can see a dark greenish hue begin to form on his steel armor, or is it bronze? Or is it bronze scales? As the form manifests beneath the shell of the illusion of a Bozak Draconian. He steps forward. I think you have something that belongs to me.
By what right?
By this. And he holds up a hand, which Anwir you see to be a claw. As he is about to cast a spell, there's a deep grinding sound and a heavy crash from above you. Several of the covered statues topple over as debris from the ceiling rain down around you. Suddenly, the air is filled with smoke and fiery chaos as the ceiling collapses and the entire northern side of the room, right around where the grate and this figure is, just disappears under a mass of flaming rubble. Just looking at it in the brief moments you have, it seems to be comprised mostly of the audience seating from the hall above. You grasp onto one another and pull desperately, reaching for whatever exit and safety you can find. With an explosion of rubble, you watch in amazed horror as, with a cacophonous clanging sound, the massive metal spire from atop the theater, from atop the theater spire, suddenly plunges through the ceiling, having plummeted down 100 feet. It splits the timbers of the wooden floor in front of you like a gigantic axe, as more debris, marble flagstones, stone columns, and just pandemonium cascade down. With a horrendous roar, your footing drops from beneath you, revealing a cavernous void. The last sensation you feel before what will certainly be your death is that of falling. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you for making Echoes of Krynn a part of your day. If you want to support this and other great actual play content, head over to www.ko-fi.com/lawfulstupidrpg. We also present weekly live streams on Twitch. Head to www.twitch.tv/lawfulstupidrpg to check out new and past episodes. Thanks again for joining us, and until next time, Esularis Othbithas. Farewell.
This has been a Lawful Stupid RPG production.